It's more about treating other people with respect and maybe saying technical.
You know what? I mean, you can applaud everything you want, but I don't respect people unless I think they deserve the respect. There are people who think that respect is something that should be given. And I happen to be one of the people who am perfectly happy saying no. Respect should be earned. And without being earned, you don't get it, right? It's really that simple.
I just want to take a moment to gloat. The truth is, we were right all along. All of these so-called conspiracy theories have turned out to be true. Today, one of the things that came out in the news is that the vaccines may have been linked to brain blood clots. Oh my. Now, of course, there are all the caveats. Well, it's only like in older people or whatever. But the point is, that information used to be forbidden. It used to be something that we could not say. But we were right. We were right on lockdowns, masking, vaccines. We were right about everything during COVID. Who's we? Mostly people who are libertarian-minded and, to some extent, conservatives. Although, of course, some of the more extreme rhetoric on both sides tends to be kind of ridiculous. The truth is that everything that people like me were shouting in 2020 and 2021 and in 2022 has turned out to be correct. We knew it was correct. We somehow knew it was correct before the science actually said it was correct. It's funny how that has worked. It's funny how the science was actually dogma the entire time, and people like me said, don't believe this, don't trust it, you need to do actual science. If the science is possible to settle, then it's not science. And that's the thing. What was being claimed as science was actually edicts from authority. It was a gigantic appeal to authority, logical fallacy. And I'm not just talking about all the stuff that went on during the early 2020s. I'm talking about everything for a long time at this point. We now have this, we're in sort of a nasty era where the social justice warrior that came out of 80s and 90s feminism, the social justice warrior lunatic started to take over things in the early 2010s on a mass societal scale. And we were right about them. They are crazy people looking to destroy society. All those social justice warriors became psychotic, rabid, illogical, irrational communists, socialists that want to tear down the society that is responsible for the most success in the entire world. Look at us and measure us compared to India, China, even Europe, which several of them seem to worship. And you find that America consistently is the place that people want to be. Now, yes, you'll have some people wanting to leave, but guess what? The vast majority of the world wants to live here, despite all the hate that they show for America, despite everything that is trash talked about this country. Why are so many people wanting to be here? Because in Britain, you get arrested for saying something that hurts someone else's feelings. Because in Germany, you get arrested for much the same. It's everywhere in Europe. You get arrested if you say things that someone else doesn't like. You don't have that problem here. And we've seen how these countries have started to become totalitarian in their own right. Everyone on the libertarian / centrist conservative, centrist leftist, everyone in the centrist / libertarian camp has turned out to be correct. And we were correct months or years in advance of everyone else. Remember those social justice warriors I talked about? Well, they eventually became the woke. woke evolved out of social justice warrior nonsense and socialist and communist college kids who think that they can just trash the system and rebuild it from scratch, except they're really LARPing as socialists and communists. And the truth is that they're getting chicken tenders vended to them in the basement from their rich mommies and daddies. And if they tore down the system, then they would no longer have the cushy life to which they are accustomed and for which they feel guilty. But now, racism has suddenly become a thing that, racism is redefined as you have to have systemic power. No, that is not racism. The language is being redefined to suit these crazy people. We've called it out for years. We were right. Look at how everything that the social justice warriors, the Tumblr feminists, the crazy internet woke scolds, look at how all of the stuff that they built up over the course of the 2010s was used as a gigantic vulnerability by the trans activists of the 2020s. You see, the problem with so-called intersectionality and with just all of the woke SJW feminist blah 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 is that they set up a system whereby facts don't exist. All that matters is what you decide reality is. There's no objective reality. There's my reality and your reality and his reality and her reality, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the way the world works. There is objective reality. I am sitting in this car, driving down this road, talking to that camera, and no amount of saying that I am a fish who is eating an ice cream cone in a pineapple under the sea is going to change that fact. It doesn't matter if I think that I am an ice cream cone eating fish in the SpongeBob world. I'm still just some fat bald male dude driving a tiny car, talking to a tiny camera, waving my tiny internet ding dong, saying that I was right the whole time. Now you have trans activists basically smashing everything that they can. And how are they doing it? They're using the language of the internet feminist. They're using the language of the social justice warrior. Marginalization, inclusion, harassment, phobias, isms. That same language that was perverted, created by the perverse social justice lunatics and the internet feminists, has now been used against them. In fact, the irony today is that the woke are honestly pretty anti-woman. What is a woman? Well, it's whatever my lived experience, my reality determines that it is. Because objective reality's gone, because it's not inclusive to acknowledge truth now. And these people in the 2010s, they spent all of this time, attacking atheists, attacking gamers, attacking men in general, which has been going on since the dawn of time, frankly. Control men by bullying them, by shaming them, by trying to make them look bad if they don't do what you want them to do. They spent all this time building a false intellectual framework by which they could bully people into doing what they wanted. And we spent the entirety of the 2010s telling these people, look, I know you might have been indoctrinated to think that what you're doing is good and righteous and holy, and that you dehumanize other people in service to the agenda, in service to the message. And these people got all the way up to Hollywood, up to the highest institutions in the country, and from the highest points of power in the entire American society, they told us they were oppressed, that the system was against them, and yet they accumulated wealth and clout, and they told us, the peasants, cleaning their sewers, exactly what they thought of us and how bad we were and how that guy that's cleaning their sewers is oppressing them, the holy ivory tower elites. No. This is not the way that the world works. And we tried to tell them that. We tried to warn them, you're building a system whereby if you did not have the double standards and the power to back your double standards, then your system will collapse around you and be used against you. They did not listen because they were the holy warriors. They were doing the Blue Church Lord's work. They did not listen to us, but we were right. We've always been right, and they've always been wrong. And you can see that play out in modern society. They've always been wrong, and when we told them you're setting yourself up for not only failure, but servitude to your very own ideology once someone else wields it. Well, look what's happening now. Feminism? Women, oh, wow, women are so oppressed. Well, the irony is that now the trans activists have co-opted what a woman is. The trans activists have co-opted everything. They have used the crowbars that were set up by social justice warriors and internet feminists and the woke people and Black Lives Matter and so on. They have taken that whole intersectionality hack and used it against everyone to obtain a degree of supremacy in America and in Western society in general. Feminism is no longer about women. Feminism is about men LARPing as women. The irony is astonishing, but we warned them. We warned them. We warned them about this system that they were building and that it would collapse in, and they didn't listen. They told us that we were privileged scum. They told us that we were racist, sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic, transphobic, fatphobic, queerphobic, everything phobic, everything ism. And as they lobbed all of these horrific accusations our way with absolutely no foundation that actually supported them, we told them, you keep lying about us. You keep saying these things, these horrible things. You keep using this perverse, evil, horrible, divisive, angry, destructive method of controlling society. One day, the control will be wrested from you using this, and it has been. So, where do we stand today? My side's always been right. The people who float around the center, the people who actually see the nuance, who actually see the complexity of the real world and acknowledge that it exists, the people who live in reality, the people who understand why, for example, the Constitution and the American government were set up the way that they were, why free speech principles matter, why the first, second, fourth, fifth, all of those amendments, the logic behind them, the reason that they are so important to the functioning of our society, but the principles, more importantly, the reason that the principles are in place. We have always been right, but we've also always been ignored and dismissed by psychopaths, extremists, who only want to wield power over others, who want to control others, who want to be right while everyone else is wrong. And that's where we are today. This video is being made in early 2023, and we've entered 2023 with quite a mess on our hands, haven't we? Why, eggs are the big joke. I gave her an egg for a wedding ring because they're that expensive. Eggs are the big joke. Gas was a big joke. Oh, give her something really expensive. Here's a can of gas. But it shouldn't be that way, because we told all of you that there were dangers inherent in locking down the entire country. There were dangers inherent. And yes, maybe, just maybe you can find some source somewhere that supports the notion that when you locked everything down, made it so people couldn't do their jobs, stuck needles in their arms by force, and so on, maybe you can find something that justifies your holy war against normal people that don't bow down to your authority. But the truth is that the amount of depression, obesity, you name it, all of the other problems have stacked up because of you. They have stacked up because of what you have done, because you didn't listen. You don't live in the world of reality, but reality doesn't care. Facts don't care about your feelings. And that's where we are today. We are in a world of facts that is rapidly coming down on the heads of these lunatics that would not listen, that live in a kooky dimension of not real. They are not on the same plane, and they are now suffering the consequences. And I think that maybe, just maybe, we are already starting to see the post-woke world come to fruition. And why do I say that? Because if you think about what woke is, I'll tell you what woke is going out. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants it. It's gone. I'm Jody, Bruchon Politics. Bye for now.